So today I'm going to be decanting an herbal remedy that's been macerating in a jar for a few months now. I call it Follow Your Heart tincture. It's got various herbs in it that support the heart, physical and the emotional heart as well. And I like to have it on hand because your heart is such an important organ. And for many of us, we've had heartbreak. And I just like to do a little extra to support the heart. So I'm going to be removing those herbs from the jar here shortly. And I thought I would take you along to show you the process. So this Follow Your Heart tonic is ready to be decanted. It's been infusing in this jar since September. So this is January. So almost, well, actually today's the 23rd. So it's been 4 months exactly. It's got hawthorn berry in it, shiitake mushrooms. It has hawthorn leaf and berry. I'm sorry, leaf and flower. It's got Solomon seal root, linden leaf and flower, and reishi and motherwort, and a little bit of cayenne. And all of those herbs working together. I mean, even on their own, they're good for the heart, but working together, they create a beautiful heart tonic. You can see I put a nut bag over the top of the jar. I like to try to catch as much particulates as possible. Keep those out of the final tincture. You can see it just draining. Gravity's doing the work. What I'll do is I'll let this drain for a little bit, and then I will squeeze it out in the end. Let's see if I can get that refocused or repositioned so you can see what I'm doing here. It's kind of hard with a phone to try to angle it. So this tincture, like I said, has been macerating for 4 months, and it's just time to remove the herbs from the jar. I mean, typically you can be done with maceration in a few weeks. I tend to follow one moon cycle at minimum. So in other words, I try to let all my tinctures infuse for at least 1 month. However, because this has shiitake mushrooms in it, I wanted to let it go, and reishi as well. With the mushrooms, I wanted to let them go longer. So I generally try to do 12 weeks at least. And I've just been busy this past month. I haven't needed this, and it was fine to just let it sit. So we are going to let gravity do the work here for a bit, and then we'll come back in a little while and we'll squeeze out the rest of the liquid from the herbs. And one thing I'd like to suggest that you do with all your tinctures is write down what you're doing. So go ahead, write down your recipe, write down the amounts that you used, so that when you create something that you really enjoy, you can recreate it time after time. So yeah, just put a date down and each individual herbs, the amounts, and then also the solvent that you used, and any notes. So what I'll do when this is finished draining, and after I've squeezed out the excess liquid, is I'll make a note over here on in my notebook how much yield I got, and I'll make any other notes that I might find relevant: taste, color, anything that I think is important to note at the time. And this way, like I said, you can recreate what you're working on time after time and have a consistent product. It isn't necessary to do this when you're using, herbal tinctures for personal use, but it is important to do that when you are sharing your products with others. And here's one of my little helpers, a little 16-year-old dog. She's can't see that well, can't hear that well anymore, so sometimes she'll just bark at us to get our attention if she needs something. So you might be wondering where I came up with the name Follow Your Heart. You know, sometimes you just make things up. And that's what I chose to do with this particular herbal remedy. Um, it doesn't make any claims in the title. You know, it doesn't say, you know, this will heal your heart disease. You know, so you have to be careful about that when you're naming your products and labeling them. And, you know, the FDA frowns upon claims of, you know, medicinal benefits when it comes to herbs, even though herbs do provide medicinal benefits. All right, so these herbs have been just kind of draining out using gravity, and I'm gonna now just start to use a little bit of manual effort here. Now, what's going on here is the herbs are kind of stuck in this jar. So let's see if we can, there we go. Get that out. Nice, all right. This is the nice thing about a nut bag is now you can just kind of give it a squeeze. It is pretty full, so I want to be very careful not to get any of the herbs inside the actual liquid below. So I'm going to go push these down a little bit so nothing spills over as I tighten it up. You can just use cheesecloth. Doesn't have to be this. I just happen to have a lot of these. So now what you'll do is you'll squeeze it manually. Now, my hand grip isn't very strong anymore, so I am going to use a potato masher to squeeze this out and get some excess fluid, because there's, believe it or not, there's probably another ½ ounce to a whole ounce in these herbs. And if you just give it a good squeeze, you can get that extra. And hey, every little bit is important, because you know, these herbs are really wonderful and you don't want to waste any of them. Okay, this just barely fits the potato masher, but we're going to work with it. You can see how much fluid is still in there. There's just no way I would be able to get that with my hand grip. So you can see that's quite a bit of tincture. We just don't want that to go to waste. Just keep working this potato masher. It's a great tool for smaller projects. This is just kind of on the high end of a small project. It just barely fits. But as I squeeze it, it's becoming more compact and kind of fitting into the masher a little bit better. Again, if you have a fruit press, which I do, I just reserve that generally for larger projects. But you know, tinctures are taken by the drop, and you can see how many drops are here, still remaining in this herb pouch. And we want to do our best to get as much as possible. I'm going to give my hands a rest here for a minute and come back to it. And we'll keep doing this until this trickle really slows down. So that's just how the potato masher looks. I couldn't get it all the way in. You just work with what you have is what I say. And you know, like I said, we've got approximately 600 milliliters here. Look at those gorgeous colors. Hawthorn berry, shiitake mushroom, reishi mushroom, and other herbs in there. Cayenne pepper. Did you know cayenne is good for your heart muscle? Anyhow, follow your heart tincture. I feel pretty satisfied with the amount of tincture that I got. So I'm going to go ahead and pour it into a storage container, which is just a quart-sized jar. And just pour it through that mesh just in case there's any particulates. You can see there's a hawthorn berry that somehow got to the bottom there. The mesh, that fine mesh strainer did catch a few of the particulates. And this is our Follow Your Heart tincture. What I'll do is, as my dropper bottle is emptied, I will just refill a dropper bottle, but this is my storage jar. And this will last a very long time. If you're using this or making this for personal use, it'll last a very long time. And it'll store for years and years as well. Everybody has a different opinion on the shelf life of a tincture, but my feeling is they last many years as long as they're properly made and properly stored.